everyone, welcome to another Will I Buy It? This is the series on my channel where I talk about all the new makeup releases. I tell you if I want to buy them or maybe not. And I would love to hear from you in the comments what you think about these new releases. If you are new on my channel, my name is Marley and I love making makeup videos and beauty videos here on YouTube. I love doing looks, swatches, reviews, all that kind of stuff. So if that sounds good to you, then don't forget to subscribe. And now let's get into it because we have a lot to discuss. So let's get into the new releases. A lot has been released the past 2 weeks, so I think this is gonna be a bit of a longer episode. There's a lot to talk about, and mostly I read from Trendmood to see what all the new releases are, but I also read from some other Instagrams like Indie Makeup Spotlight. I always link what I read from down below so you can check the pages out for yourself. So this first thing is something that was already released when I did my last episode of the series, but it was just so boring to me that I didn't even realize that something new was released by this brand. And these are the new products by One Size. That's the brand of Patrick Starr. And they released eye patches and some blurring primer. I don't really get where this brand is going. I feel like they are just releasing all this random stuff that nobody really needs or nobody's really asking for. It's just not something that people are really gonna be like too enthusiastic about. I feel like if you're a new brand and you really kind of want to make a statement and really want to show people what you're about, what makes you special. And I feel like they're just releasing all this random stuff and it doesn't really make sense and I don't really know where this is going. And personally, I'm really not interested in this brand. The eyeshadow palette was kind of okay looking, not for me, but it was fine. But for the rest, I don't really get this brand. And I feel like Patrick Starr could have done way better than this, personally. Then we have these new Pixi collaborations. They are with 4 different influencers. I don't really know a lot about this stuff. I haven't really paid attention to this in the last few years. But I kind of get why I didn't, because this just looks so boring to me. I mean, the packaging of Pixi is always kind of cheap looking, kind of like so-so. Okay, the mint kind of grabs your attention, but it looks cheap. And the colors that they picked here are just really boring. The eyeshadow palette is like your basic warm toned eyeshadow palette with a pop of green. And that pop doesn't make it interesting all of a sudden. Also because there are just so many light shades here. Then there's this glowy blush palette. Okay, I guess that's kind of nice. Then this contouring palette that I wouldn't be interested in personally. Maybe if you were like a makeup artist and you're doing makeup on different types of people, but it's not really for like the average consumer, I think. And then this, I think it's like a cream rouge palette with so many pinky blushes. I think they could have condensed this to like 6 blushes and you wouldn't have missed anything. You would get the same result. So I personally haven't really tried anything from Pixi, but this isn't gonna convince me. I just don't think this is a very interesting collection. And I'm kind of wondering why they come out with this kind of things. I don't know if I would personally be really happy if I would collab with a brand and this is what came out of it. Then we got a new collection by Pat McGrath. There are new additions to the Divine Rose 2 collection. So we already had the Divine Rose 2. Wait a minute, I haven't scooched over and probably editing Marley is gonna be really mad about that. So let me do that real quick. So that's better. I'll put it up here. So we have the Divine Rose 2 collection and we have some new additions. The Divine Rose 2 eyeshadow palette was already available, but now we also have a quad and a highlighter. So what I actually found out recently, Pat McGrath used to be really hard to get for me, but now it's available at Douglas in the Netherlands. They don't have a lot, but they have some stuff, so that's kind of interesting. Maybe they will end up having more of the collection, and then maybe I might consider trying something from them sometime, but I don't think they're gonna have like the new stuff. So let's see. This collection looks kind of interesting, but not for the price. I feel like that quad is kind of nice, but not that special. It just has those kind of soft rosy tones. If I would buy something from Pat McGrath, personally, I would go for something with just Blitz Astral shades. So just the glittery shades. And I would just love to know what that formula is about, because people are always raving about that. But I wouldn't really go for something with normal metallics or mattes. I wouldn't be as interested in trying that. I think the highlighter looks kind of nice, but when I see something that is so expensive, there's already like a barrier in my mind and I'm like, don't even think about it. Please, don't hurt yourself by even considering this. It's not gonna happen. This is just kind of like out of my league for now. So we have this new Kiko collection. I was a bit unsure if I already talked about it, but I think I talked about the Valentine's collection by Kiko. But now they also have a spring collection. They have some bronzers, some glowy blushes, some glowy lipsticks. They have some powders, eyeshadows, lip glosses, all kind of products. And I have to say the packaging looks really similar to the Tuscan Sunshine collection. I don't think the colors are like exactly the same and they changed it up a little bit, but it's definitely very inspired by a collection they did at the same time last year. I'm personally not really interested in this. It just doesn't look that special to me. Maybe if the stores would reopen and I would be able to see this in person, I would consider buying it, but it's also like not special enough for me to order it online and take the risk. I have to say I do kind of like the idea of these glowy blushes, but I think all the colors are just a little bit too warm or too dark or too brown. That shimmery orange, it's just too orange for me. The brown one is not gonna work on my skin tone. And the more purpley pinky one, I feel like it would be a little bit too dark and too grey on me. And I have something that's very similar to this in my collection already and it doesn't really work on my skin tone. So I'm gonna skip on this collection probably, but maybe if I can see it in real life, I might consider it, but it really depends on how things go here in the Netherlands if the stores reopen. You know, I live in the middle of the city center, so then it wouldn't be much effort to go and check it out in the store. We have a new birthday collection by Nikita Dragun. I'm not interested in this brand. I don't feel it. I just don't care about this packaging and these colors and just the aesthetic of the brand. There's just something about it that makes me go, nah, before it's even like revealed, before I even know what it is. It's just the aesthetic, but also I'm not a fan of Nikita. It's not like I hate her. It's just that I don't really care about her and these products aren't really convincing me. I just really don't know what like the idea of the brand is, where are they going, and I feel like that does kind of matter to me personally. Yeah, I do like it when a brand has that, and yeah, and it does make me buy things when I know what kind of the aesthetic and the plan is of the brand. Does that make sense? Do you have that as well? It just all feels a little bit random to me. Then we have these new lipsticks by MAC. They are a collaboration with Kakao France. Kakao France? I don't really know what it is. I don't really know about this collaboration. It looks kind of cute, but I don't think I need anything from this because I'm not familiar with what they're collabing with. It's just not something I need or something I'm interested in. Then we have a new collection by Nars. They have another blush duo, I think, and another eyeshadow palette. I have to say I'm never really interested in Nars. There's just something about the brand that makes me go like, nah, I don't know, because I feel like the reviews of the products aren't always like the best. I don't feel like people think the eyeshadow formula is the best. And it's a bit on the expensive side. I wouldn't mind sometime paying this price for something really special, but then first I want to see some really good reviews. And I don't feel like that's happening right now with Nars. So I'm skipping on this one. Then we have this Suva Beauty. It's a Suva Beauty toppers palette and they have 4 really shiny iridescent toppers. I guess if I would have it, I would use it. I think it would be quite fun, but I'm not really interested in buying this in like a palette. I also feel like a lot of palettes nowadays already have these types of iridescent shades. There are also a lot of different singles out there that have this iridescent quality that you can use as a topper. Yeah, I don't really feel like I need a full palette of this. I would rather just get that one single or use something that I already have in my palettes. I feel like there are a lot of options nowadays with iridescent shades. It's not a really bad release, but it's also not something new and exciting that people were really waiting for and didn't have in their collection just yet. So this is not something I'm personally interested in. And I feel like that happens a lot. I wouldn't pay the money, but if I would have it, I would probably like it. Then we have a new release by Chantecaille. They have a spring 2021 collection. I see they have a quad and they have some lip products. I do kind of like the aesthetic and the idea of this brand, like all the packaging with the animals. I'm personally really into nature and animals and flowers and butterflies. I just really love it when packaging is inspired by that, but this is too expensive for me. I already know before seeing the prices. I also don't know if it would even be available for me, if I could even get it here in the Netherlands. I did want to mention it just because of the packaging. I really like this whole design with the butterfly. I think it's really cute. Then we have a new collection by MAC, and I've been kind of hard on them in my past will I buy it videos. I'm not always so sure about the things that they release, because they do love to repackage things that they've already brought out like so many times. They don't really come out with new things a lot of the time. But this collection actually looks really nice. It's a black cherry spring collection, and first of all, I really like the look of this packaging. This black with the pink flowers. I think it looks really pretty. It's really like a nice design. As I told you, I love flowers, I love nature, so this already made me go like, oh, maybe this is something for me. Let's see what kind of products they have. And I have to say, these glowy blushes look quite nice. I'm quite interested in adding some more blushes to my collection because I don't really have a lot. I think I have maybe like 8 or 9 blushes. Is really not a lot for someone who likes blush this much and who wants to have different kinds of textures in my collection. I would love to have different colors, different textures. I just really enjoy blush. But for a long time, I just didn't really pay attention to blush releases. I didn't really buy any. So now I'm kind of eyeing different blushes, seeing what maybe I could add to my collection. I did buy a blush recently, and I will probably do a video on that quite soon. It depends on when it gets to me. But yeah, I'm really interested in these glowy blushes. I would love to see some videos on this. I think personally I would be most interested in the light pink one, but there's also a really nice kind of apricot peachy one that also looks very nice. The rest of the collection doesn't interest me a whole lot. I would have loved to see some more cool toned options with the lip products. That would be more for me, but I think if I would buy just one of those blushes and have that packaging and have such a nice glowy blush, if it is a nice glowy blush and it is not overspray, but I don't think they're gonna do that to us again. That would be really silly. Then I don't think anyone would trust them ever again. So yeah, I'm pretty interested, and this is probably gonna be out in the Netherlands in like March, so I have some time to think about it and maybe watch some videos. Then we have this new Dominique Cosmetics palette, and it's all matte neutrals. It does have some warm tones, some neutral tones, and then some cooler tones. This is not something I'm personally interested in. I do like having mattes in my collection. I do like having mattes in my palettes. I feel like they're just needed for looks, but I wouldn't be interested in an all matte palette. It's just not what I get excited about. I get excited about really special, really pretty shimmers, and nowadays also a lot about colors. This is just not something I need in my life right now. I get the idea. I think a lot of people will like it, but to me it's just boring and unnecessary. I do think that this looks a lot better than the Orgy palette by Jeffree Star. I do feel like this is the better version of that, because you don't need all the shades of beige to do your looks, and you can also mix and match these. I feel like if you have different kinds of matte shades, then you also have a lot of options to mix and match. You don't need every slightly different shade. I feel like I'm a bit indifferent about this palette. It's not a bad release, it's not the best release, I'm not excited about it, but maybe some people might. I haven't really tried Dominique Cosmetics, maybe I will in the future, but it's not gonna be this one. Then we have some new Twin Flames by Danessa Myrick. So those are the multi-chrome iridescent liquid eyeshadows. I'm not really interested in liquid eyeshadows right now. I just don't feel like it's something that I need in my life, and these do look pretty. I do think they picked some interesting shades, but I don't think I'm gonna be buying any type of liquid eyeshadow in the future. I'm just not really interested in this one. Then we have some new releases by P. Louise. I'm not really into this brand in general. I just think the packaging usually is way too bulky. These palettes are a lot smaller, so that's better. But they're really neutral. There are no special colors here. I'm just not really interested in this brand, and there are just so many fun releases. So many good things are coming out that I'm interested in, and this just makes me go like, I don't care. I don't really care about this. If I wouldn't do this series, I would just scroll right past it and I wouldn't even remember that this ever came out. So there's a new Colourpop collection and we have some more of the 5 pens. This just looks so cheap. It looks so cheap and it looks so boring. I do like pinks, but this is just the same old, same old. And also I have to say, I think the packaging of those 5 pens looks really cheap. I don't know what it is about it, but if I look at my Natasha Denona Mini Glam, then I'm like, this is a really nice packaging. It looks really luxurious. But then when I compare it to this just looks like it's $3. It just looks like something you would find in a bin at the dollar shop somewhere. It doesn't look like something I would pay like $10 for. It doesn't look like it's worth that. I just feel like this whole collection just looks so cheap. I also think those blushes look really cheap, like kind of childish. Usually, at least I kind of like their releases. I like most of their releases, but this really disappointed me. I know Colourpop has a lot of kind of pointless releases that maybe they could have done better, but this really felt pointless to me. This just feels like something you would buy for someone as a gift and then they would be like, oh okay, and then they would never use it. It kind of feels like this makeup that you would only buy because it's Valentine's themed, but not because the actual makeup is like nice or good or it looks nice. So I was kind of disappointed with this actually. So when I saw this palette, for like half a second I was like, is this real? Is this fake? Or is this real? Because I've seen so many imaginary naked palettes, like people who draw all different types of naked palettes and just think up their own theme and color story, and they don't release a lot. So I've seen a lot more of those imaginary palettes than that I've seen the actual naked palettes. I feel like this one is kind of pointless. When I look at this, it's like a warm neutral palette with a pop of teal. And there's just nothing inspiring or interesting about this. It might be that once again their promo picture is making it look really bland. But then that's still not a good thing, right? Your promo picture should actually make people want to buy your stuff. So either they are really bad with promo pictures or this is just a really bad palette. I feel like they could have made this much more interesting. Look at this packaging. There are so many different colors on the packaging, and then when you look inside it's like a lot of warm tones and a few greens, like 2 greens. I feel like they really missed the mark with this one and I'm like not interested in this. And I also feel like all those imaginary naked palettes show you what are the options and that they choose this. I don't feel like this adds enough to their collection. I don't think they should have gone with this type of palette. Then we have 3 new blushes by Ofra. They look kind of nice. I do like this split packaging. I do like this split pen design. I do like that you get those 2 options, that you can use them either separately or together. I'm personally not really interested in these because those colors aren't really for me. I think the one with the pink would be most for me, but I think it's a bit too nude for my taste, so I'm skipping on this collection. Then we have this new palette by Byredo. I haven't really talked about this brand, I think, yet. It's quite a new brand and I think it's quite like a luxury brand. This one is $96. It's a really colorful palette. I think it has mattes and shimmers. I feel like there's not really a color story here. It looks a little bit jumbled, it looks a little bit random, and it also looks very bright. To me it actually looks a little bit like a Makeup Revolution palette. It looks a bit cheap and like they haven't really thought through the options. And what I also don't really like about this palette is that it's all really in the same range. Like it's all mid-tone. They're not really like lighter colors or darker colors, so you don't have a lot of options when you're creating looks with this palette. So this really isn't for me, and especially not for $96. I'm definitely gonna skip on that one. So let me just check any makeup spotlight. We have 3 new Persona Cosmetics e-balms. They're like this tinted balm. I'm not really interested in Persona Cosmetics right now because it would just be really expensive for me to get this, and there hasn't been a release yet that really has pulled me in, that really has made me feel like I should buy from them now. I would love to try their products sometime, but I don't feel like now is the time. I feel like there are just other releases that are a bit more exciting. I feel like Persona just has really decent quality products that you can just use every day, and it's very nice, but it's not what I'm looking for right now. Then we can have this sneak peek from Nars Cosmetics. It's a Flight Club palette and it has 12 shades. I believe they're gonna be releasing this in February. I don't know if I'm really interested in this. It does look like it's gonna be quite purple, but it really depends on what's gonna be on the inside. It's also, I already have a lot of single eyeshadows in mind by Menagerie that I would love to buy when they restock. They did say that they were gonna ship to the Netherlands again. So I'm kind of waiting until I can buy the things that I've been eyeing for such a long time already. So I don't know if this is gonna be something that I would also add to my cart, also because I already want to buy a lot of stuff by them and I can't buy everything. There's just a limit to what I can buy from them. And I also don't really want the stress of trying to buy the new thing. Sometimes I do that, but it can be a little bit stressful to be ready right at that time and you don't know if there's enough stock, how many people also want to get it, will you be able to get it? So I don't know yet, but I'm eyeing this one. Then we have the new collection by Oden's Eye. I already told you that I'm kind of eyeing this brand and I'm kind of waiting for something that makes me want to try them. And I'm just a little bit unsure about the palettes that they have now. So they released this new Norns collection and I've already seen some videos about it. I have to say I have some mixed feelings. I do kind of like the palette, but at the same time it's not completely what I would want. Like some shades are really so beautiful and then some shades I'm like, that didn't have to be in there, in my opinion. I also feel like it looks a little bit like the new Kaleidos and Angelica collaboration palette. I really feel like there are some similar tones in there and there are some shades that look kind of similar, and the color story with those jewel tones, I feel like it just isn't necessary to have both for me because the Kaleidos palette is coming my way and I just feel like if I have that then I don't really need this one. I feel like the Kaleidos palette is just a better version of this palette and they also both have those toppery shimmery shades. I do think it's a pretty collection, it's a nice launch. I think a lot of people are gonna be excited about this one, but I don't think I'm gonna be buying anything from this. The highlighters look quite interesting, but I don't think I'm gonna be picking something up from Oden's Eye quite soon. I don't think this is something I'm gonna buy now. Maybe in the future I will make an order from them, but I just think this isn't it. Then there were just a few more things I wanted to talk about that weren't on Trendmood, or I didn't see them on Trendmood. And this one, when I saw this one I was like, so apparently this is what an olive palette looks like nowadays. I looked at this and I was like, where is all the green? The packaging is green, it is called All of You Forever, and then when you see the swatches it's like there's one green shimmer and then there is one olivey shimmer and that's it. The rest is just warm, neutral tones and I just don't really get this brand. I would love to try something one day from them, but I feel like, so I just got interrupted for a sec. Let me think what I was talking about. I was talking about the All of You Forever palette. I just think that they could have done better and I just feel like that with a lot of their releases. They just could have done a little bit better. They could have made the packaging a little bit better and they just could have taken a little bit more time to think about the color story. I do hear that their quality is quite good, but these color stories and this type of packaging and the theming, it doesn't really make me want to buy from them. And then we have this new Amethyst palette by BH Cosmetics. It's the February Birthstone palette. When I saw that it was Amethyst, I was kind of like, maybe I'm interested, let's see. I do love purples, but I just feel like with this packaging and the pans and just the layout, something about it makes it look a little bit cheap. And I'm not really interested in this whole series. I think it's a lot better than what they did with the zodiac signs. Like, I feel like everybody hated the zodiac signs palettes and now they're kind of wanting to redeem themselves. They kind of want to show everyone that they can do a series like this. It's a lot better. I do have to admit it's a lot better than what they did with the zodiac signs, but it still just doesn't pull me in. It doesn't inspire me enough. I don't think I'm gonna be interested in any of these palettes. But let's see what the March palette is gonna look like, because my birthday is actually in March, so maybe that will make me a little bit more excited, but we'll see. And then the last product for this probably very long video, I've been talking for a long time already, is the new Romantic palette by Beauty Bay. It looks kind of interesting, but I feel like it's a really orange for a romantic Valentine's Day themed palette. It has a lot of warm tones, so that kind of color story doesn't really inspire me. And also I feel like the reviews of these palettes by Beauty Bay have been a little bit like so. Everybody was like, it's good, but it's not the best. So I'm not really into buying something that is reviewed as just good. I don't want to clutter my collection with just good products. I just want products that really excite me, that are really amazing. So I don't really think that I'm gonna be buying anything from the Beauty Bay brand in the near future. So that was everything for today's video. Those were all the new beauty releases, all the new makeup releases. Let me know in the comments what you thought of them. I think there are some interesting things coming out right now. I'm kind of eyeing a few things, but we'll see if I end up picking anything up. I feel like I've been talking just for such a long time and my lipstick is starting to look a little bit crazy. Also hope I didn't get a lot of like lipstick on my teeth while talking. Maybe a red lipstick wasn't the best idea. Oh well. So don't forget to like this video if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe. I would love to see you again, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye!